So I'm going to be reacting to this video with Dr. Shamir Ally. They're asking him a question about Yahweh and Allah, if they're the same God that Abraham worshipped, if the God of Islam, Allah, is the same as the Jewish God Yahweh. So we're going to see what he has to say about it, and I'm going to let you know what I think about it, okay? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Let's go ahead and watch the video.
Okay, but here are several questions about Yahweh. So the first question is, what does the word Yahweh mean? And does it appear in the Quran?
The word Yahweh is Hebrew, meaning He.
Welcome to Let the Quran
Are you serious right now? Did I really just do that?
Let the Quran speak. Now for Yahweh. So the first question is, what does the word Yahweh mean? And does it appear in the Quran?
The word Yahweh is Hebrew.
It actually doesn't appear in the Quran. The word Yahweh, it doesn't. The word Allah is given throughout the Quran, but Yahweh is never mentioned.
Meaning He is, and that is taken to be the name of God. It's not mentioned in this full form in the Bible. In the Bible, only the four consonants are mentioned, YHWH, and scholars now fill it out to say that Yahweh is the best pronunciation.
This is true.
Now, according to the Bible, this and only this Yahweh is God. There is no other. And since the Quran speaks about the God of Abraham, the God basically of the Bible is the only true God, then the Quranic God and the biblical God is the same God. In the Quran, of course, God is referred to as Allah, and that in Arabic is the name of God, and that name of God is used also by Arabic-speaking Christians and Jews.
No, I'm not saying that the word Allah is not the name for God in Arabic. Of course, that's true. But I do want to point something out. I have seen other people who say that Yahweh is not actually the name of God. I've actually seen other Muslim scholars try to say that it's not the name of God. But let's look real quick at the verse. In Exodus 3:15 in the New Living Translation, it says that God also said to Moses, "Say this to your people, to the people of Israel, Yahweh, the God of your ancestors, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you." Because Moses is asking, like, who should I tell the Israelites that sent me? Like, what is your name? And he says, "This is my eternal name. My name to remember for all generations." So this is my name forever. Yahweh is my name. This is what God said to Moses when he asked, who should I say sent me? So if it just means simply He is, which it does mean, that it means the self-existent one, the eternal one, He is, I am, that's what it means. But he put His name as a description of what He is, to say basically, like, this is my name. I am the all. I am the Alpha and the Omega. I'm the one who creates everything. I'm the one who always was, who is, and always will be, basically. But He said, this is my name. This is my eternal name for all the generations. So this is my name forever. So anybody who tries to go and say that that's not His name, He said it was His name. He says it's His name. So, okay, let's keep going.
And in fact, in Arabic translations of the Bible, we find the word Allah also used, but not as a translation of Yahweh, as a translation of Elohim.
And the word Elohim is not the name of God either. The word Elohim it's actually plural. Elohim, El is God, singular for Hebrew, and Elohim means plural, God, plural. So it doesn't necessarily mean, when they use the word Elohim in the Jewish scriptures and the Hebrew scriptures, it's not always talking about Yahweh. They use the word Elohim for angels, other spiritual beings. They're talking about sometimes when there were fallen angels, evil Elohims. Or it can be talking about false gods, false Elohims. So, Elohim is just a general term for, like, spirit beings and gods in general. It doesn't mean that it's the supreme God. It just means the word, could mean God or any type of God. So that's what that word means.
The Quran never mentions Yahweh.
No.
So this next question is...
So he says, no, the Quran does not ever mention Yahweh.
Are Yahweh of the Bible and Allah and the Quran the same God?
Yeah, I basically answered, but
So she's saying that somebody's asking are Yahweh and Allah in the Quran the same God. This is what he says.
I want to elaborate on that. I don't know how much time we have, but very quick. Yeah, and the Quran is very clear that Muslims should say to our Christian and Jewish friends, "Ilahuna wa ilahukum wahid." Our God and your God is one. And the Quran, for example, in Surah 2, verse 163, says, وَإِلَهُكُمْ إِلَهٌ وَاحِدٌ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ الرَّحْمَنُ الرَّحِيمُ. And your God is one God. There is no God but Him, the Beneficent, the Merciful One. So throughout the Quran is saying there is only one God, and identifies that as the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob.
So according to him, Allah and Yahweh are all the same God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, I don't deny that that's what he really believes, and that's what a lot of Muslims really believe, and I don't even deny that that's probably what Muhammad believed when he wrote this. I'm pretty sure that that is what he believed. I think he did believe that the messenger was an angel, and that he was speaking for Yahweh God. He probably did believe that that's who Allah was. But if you compare in attributes, if you compare in who God shows himself to be throughout the Hebrew scriptures, it doesn't match this God that the angel, whatever you want to call him, it doesn't match the same description or the same, it's not the same God. Let's let him finish, and I'll have a little bit more to say about that.
For example, in Surah 2 again, the Quran says that were you present when when death came to Jacob, when he said to his sons, "What are you going to worship after me?" And they say, "Na'budu ilahakum wa ilaha abaikum Ibrahim wa Ismail ilaha wahida." We are going to worship your God and the God of your father Abraham and Isaac. It is only one God. So this is the God that the Quran is inviting us always and impelling us to worship. It is the God of the Bible.
We appreciate it.
So yeah, he believes that this is the God of the Bible, and I bet a lot of Muslims believe that, and I bet that Muhammad believed that. But when you really look at it, when you really lay it out, and you look at what this God commands and what this God is like, Allah described in the Quran is not a God that can be known. Allah, Yahweh, described in the Bible is a God that can be known, a God that sat down face to face with Abraham and Moses, and spoke to them, came to Hagar personally, came to the prophets personally, to them, to talk to them and give them commands and speak with them and build them up. And if you look back at the story of Abraham when God was going to come and destroy Sodom and Gomorrah, he told Abraham, go and go away from this place because I'm going to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And Abraham, he didn't just command Abraham, like, go, this is what I'm going to do, and that's it. Like, that's it. Just don't even ask any questions. He allowed Abraham to ask him multiple times, well, God, if there's 50 people, will you save the 50? If there's 40, will you save the 40? If there's 30, will you save the 30? God sat there and listened to him, and yes, if there's 30 righteous, I'll save 30. If there's 20, if there's 10, if there's 5, I mean, he let him go on and on about it, and he was like, listen, if there's 10, I will save the city if there's 10 righteous people. So that's a personal God. That's a personal God that can be known, not in the sense of we could know everything about God. Of course not. We can't know everything, but he's a personal God, and he wants to be in personal relationship with us. That's just one example. There's multiple. So I think Nabeel Qureshi says it right when he says it here. Let's listen to what Nabeel Qureshi says.
Hey guys, it's Nabeel Qureshi. I I get a lot of questions about Islam and Christianity, and I'm hoping to answer a few of the most common ones today. One of the most common questions I get is whether Allah and the God of Christianity are the same. It's an interesting question because we believe as monotheists that there is only one God. And so the one God who exists, who created all people, is listening to all people when they pray. He knows who they are by name. He designed them. And so when people pray, no matter to whom they're praying, there is one God who is listening. But is that one God the Islamic conception or the Christian conception? Now here's the point that I want to make. The way Islam teaches God's character, his being, is very different from that of Christianity. Of course, the Christian God is triune. The Christian God is a father, an absolutely perfectly loving father. The Christian God is willing to enter into this world and suffer alongside his creation. The Christian God is willing to forgive us of all our sins by paying the penalty himself. In all of these ways, he is very different from the Muslim God. The Muslim God is transcendent, in fact unknowable. Chapter 5 of the Quran says that he remains behind a veil, as if it were, and it's not meet for him to enter into this world or to be made known.
Yeah, so he really makes that point here. It's the attributes are so different from the Allah, the God of Islam, and Yahweh, the God of Christianity, and the God of the Jews.
So the Christian God and the Muslim God have very different characteristics. They do different things. They offer different paths. The Christian God says, believe in him, follow him, and he will take our sins upon himself. The Muslim God gives us rules to follow and laws to complete in order for us to have a chance at earning his grace and mercy. These are two very different gods in the way they are taught, but thankfully, there is only one God. And so when a Muslim or a Christian cries out for God to reveal himself, God is gracious, and he answers, as he answered.
That's right, he sure did. Yeah, he did a lot of good work for the kingdom, Nabeel Qureshi, rest his soul. But yeah, honestly, it's not the same. The attributes are not the same. We can't put in the same category. I really think that Muhammad thought that he was worshiping the same God. I think that he thought his revelation that he got was from God. But I honestly believe that the revelation he got was from a demon and from the pit of hell, because every other religion in the world preaches legalism. I mean, it's no different. Satan doesn't care if you only worship one God. He doesn't care if you're a monotheist. As long as you're still doing work, and as long as you're still thinking that you're the one that can choose whether you get into heaven or not, that you're the one that works out your own salvation, that you're the one that you're the one that you're following, because it's all up to you whether you've done enough, whether you've been good enough. It doesn't rest on God whether those things are happening or not. So at the end of the day, they require different things. They have different attributes. Just like Nabeel said, it's different paths. So I really think at the end of the day that Muhammad, like I said, was visited by a demon, and I think that his revelation came from the pit of hell. It's not a whole lot different than in Mormonism, where Joseph Smith, again, had a revelation from a quote-unquote angel, and then he started this whole different thing based on works. I mean, it's the same concept, because Mormons also say, oh, we follow Jesus, we believe in Jesus, and we follow the Bible and God. Islam says the same thing. We believe in Jesus. It's just a little different Jesus. And Mormons say the same thing. It's just a little different Jesus. I mean, it makes so much sense that this would just be a lie from a visit from a demon to give you a different revelation away from the one that that Jesus originally taught, a different gospel that was originally given. So yeah, my conclusion at the end of the day is that he did think that he was getting a revelation from the same true God, but I think it's Satan from the pit of hell, because even all the way back to Genesis, all the way back in the beginning and all the way back in the Old Testament, the Hebrew scriptures and the law and the prophets and everything, God gives this prediction that, there will be one that comes that brings everything back to the way that it was supposed to be, and that will bring everybody into salvation. So that's it. I just wanted to react to that real quick. It's interesting that this is what I know. This is what a lot of people think, and I get it. But really, do your research. Compare the God of the Bible to the God of Islam. It's just not the same. It's not the same God. And Yahweh is not mentioned in the Quran. Yahweh is not the same God as Allah. It's not a matter of language or name. It's a matter of attributes at the end of the day. It's a matter of what they both teach. The God of Islam, Allah, teaches something different than the God of Christianity and of the Jews, Yahweh. Whether you call him Yahweh, Elohim, Allah, they're just different. They're different people. Not different people, but they're different beings, It's not the same. It's not the same person. It's just like two guys that are named John. They're both named John, but it's not the same guy. You've got John Smith and, you've got John, whoever over here. It's the same name, but they're two different guys, and they look different, and they act different, and they talk different, and they're from different families. Not the same thing at the end of the day.